Hey guys, welcome back to another Jay the One-Eyed Gamer video. It has been a crazy holiday season. Sorry I haven't been able to make that many videos. But with 2018 over, I wanted to try my hand at making a new video that I haven't done before on the channel. And because 2018 is over, and it was such a good year for video games, at least in my personal opinion it was, I thought it'd be nice to look at the horizon and see what games are coming out in the next couple months and into the future of 2019. Because this year there are some games that a lot of people are looking forward to, games that were announced years ago that are finally going to be playable. Before we start the video, guys, if you're new here, please feel free to hit that subscribe button. It helps out the channel, and if you do hit that subscribe button, please feel free to hit that little bell button. It lets you know when my videos go up via notification. With that out of the way, guys, let's jump into my top 10 most anticipated games of 2019. Ninjas. Who doesn't love ninjas? They are death dealers, they are master assassins, and also in some games they have some really kick-ass combos. This game that comes in at number 10 is a game that was technically scheduled for last year but ran into some difficulties and they pushed it back into this year, and it's actually going to be in a couple weeks from this video, and that is Senran Kagura Burst Renewal, a game I've been looking forward to since they announced it. It's finally now getting over here into the States. The reason for the delay was kind of just some controversy around Sony's new, I think, handling of sexualized content, but I feel like that's a moot point only because if you do look at Senran Kagura and if you have heard the franchise, you probably do know about the fan service aspect, and to be fair, yes, that is an ability to turn people off, and I completely understand that, and that's fair. But if you guys are willing to look past the fan service, you realize there's a really good hack and slash game underneath. The combat is fluid, it's fast, and it's a lot of fun, especially when you get them into the air and do aerial combos. The supers are awesome, the transformations are incredible, and the girls themselves are really cool. Like, they're not just one-dimensional, they all have different personalities, their fighting styles are completely different and amazing, and I absolutely love my girl Daidoji, the goddess of the fist, who literally hits like a truck and moves as fast as like a tiger. If you guys have never tried out Senran Kagura, I highly suggest you try out Burst Renewal. Like I said, I think this game is going to be fun, and that's kind of why it's the start off my list here. I remember when this game was first revealed at the VGAs in 2017, and we haven't heard really much about it since then, but it's definitely one of the games I'm very interested in from a Nintendo Switch, and for a franchise I've been a big fan of since the very first game. And of course, I'm talking about Bayonetta 3. Now, we haven't heard any information on Bayonetta 3 since that reveal at the VGAs in 2017, and to be fair, that's kind of okay. I think most times in this game it takes like 2, maybe 3 years at most to do it, if they haven't already started the development stages, because technically the trailer you're seeing here is actually just a CG trailer demonstrating what probably is going to be happening in Bayonetta 3. There's not a lot we can glean from it other than the fact that we see Bayonetta unfortunately getting her you-know-what handed to her, which is kind of concerning considering this is the woman who punched a god into the sun in the first game, and I believe punched God again into the sun for the second time. Wow, it almost sounds like she's Goku from the Dragon Ball Z movies. But I digress. There might be a slim chance of this game getting released in 2019, and I completely understand that, but if there's even just 1 small percent chance that this game could come out in this year, I will definitely put it on the list, and I will definitely talk about this game because you guys know I like hack and slash games and I love character action games. Yeah, and Bayonetta being made by the father of those types of games, Hideki Kamiya, obviously this game's got a good pedigree behind it, and it's gonna be great, let's be honest. Bayonetta 1 was good, Bayonetta 2 was fantastic, so I can't wait to see Bayonetta 3. If it's gonna be anything like Devil May Cry 3, Dante's Awakening, this game is gonna probably set a benchmark for the whole genre, and I can't wait to see it. And like I said, there might be a chance it might not come out this year, there might be a chance it does come out this year, but either way, I definitely wanted this game on my list somehow. That's why it's not as high and it's only at number 9. I love fighting games, guys. 2D, 3D, it doesn't matter to me. I just love the games. Probably not that great at them, as you could probably tell by watching some of the early videos on this channel with me doing Street Fighter V online gameplays and probably the Soul Calibur 6 beta gameplays. I'm not that great at them, but I love them regardless. My surprise when Cry Games, when they were doing the Granblue Fiesta 2018, when they announced that they were teaming up with Arc System Works, one of the best fighting game developers on the planet, to make a fighting game based on one of their best cell phone franchises. And of course, I'm talking about the most recently announced Granblue Fantasy Versus. Pretty much a 2D fighting game in the vein of probably Guilty Gear and BlazBlue. The graphics look amazing. It looks like it's ripped straight from an anime. And they talk about how the combat's not going to be so intently focused on combos, how it's going to not go crazy with them. When I think of that, I think of, if you guys ever played like BlazBlue or Guilty Gear, there are like some crazy combos. I'm talking like combos of like 20 upwards, and those are not easy to do, like at all, because let me tell you, unless you have the muscle memory and are really dedicated to the games, you will not be able to usually pull off those 40 to 50 hit combos. But when you do, or if you watch someone who does, it's really amazing. So I think this game is more along the lines of like, it's not going to focus heavily on those combos. So instead of like doing ridiculously like 50 to 60 hit combos, they might like focus on maybe 10, maybe a 15 hit combo, which really aren't that bad depending on how the combos are set up. But I am really looking forward to this game. It's scheduled to come out this year, so hopefully we won't have to wait that long until like maybe the end of the year. But I'm definitely looking forward to this. As someone who loves fighting games, 2D or 3D, I'm really looking forward to this. I wanted to put this on this list because I was genuinely surprised. And going forward, I'm very looking forward to see what characters they're going to add and how the game's going to ship up throughout the year as we get more information on this. The next game on this list came as a real surprise at this year's E3 press conference. The Square Enix press conference wasn't that great. It didn't really hold my interest that well. I probably had too high of an expectations, and I wanted to see something on Final Fantasy VII Remake, so that probably didn't help. But there was one game that caught my interest and completely came out of left field, and that was Babylon's Fall. A game that looks really interesting. We haven't gotten any more information on the game since E3 of 2018. All we know is that it's being published by Square Enix and developed by Platinum Games, and if you guys know anything about Platinum Games, they have a great pedigree for making really great, fast, high-impact style gameplays, because look at their pedigree. They got the Bayonetta series. These are the guys who made the original Devil May Cry games. These are also the guys who've done Beautiful Joe. They've done Nier Automata, which has garnered nothing but praise since it was made, and a whole bunch of other games that are probably in the wings. So we know it's going to be a really good game regardless of what it is. We don't know what type of game it is. We don't know if it's going to be an RPG action game. We don't know if it's going to be hack and slash. We don't know if it's going to be like an online type of game. All we know is that we got this really cool trailer of knights using magic to destroy golems, and essentially what looks like to ascend a tower to kill a goddess. That's all we could really glean from the game, but that premise alone and the fact that when it showed off, I thought it was like some kind of Final Fantasy Tactics game really got me interested. What really sealed the deal for me to be interested in this game, though, was to see at the end that it was being developed by Platinum Games. So I knew right off the bat that it was going to be a quality game and it was going to have some really great gameplay, whether it's an action game or an RPG. So that's why I put it on my list, because it is scheduled to come out this year in 2019, and I hope it keeps that release date. And I'm really hopeful that in the coming months, Square Enix is a little more forthcoming with this game, along with hopefully any news on Final Fantasy VII Remake, even though that game is probably like 2 years away from development. But regardless, that's why the number 7 slot goes to Babylon's Fall. We don't know that much about the game, and it's very interesting to speculate what it could be. I definitely still have hype for this game, so I definitely can't wait to see anything else that Square Enix deems worthy enough for us to see. And here's hoping that, you know, in the coming months we definitely get to see some gameplay, because that's really going to help like get the hype rolling. I've said it before, guys, and I'll say it again. Who doesn't like ninjas? And I love fighting games. Since I'm clearly talking about that, I'm talking about Dead or Alive 6. A franchise that I've pretty much been enjoying since DOA 3 back on the good old Xbox One days. Not Xbox One and this Xbox One, the original Xbox. God, that's confusing. But anyway, I was looking forward to Dead or Alive 6 for a while now because I platinumed Dead or Alive 5 last round. That was a fun game. I really enjoyed it. Again, it's another game that a lot of people shy away from because the skimpy outfits, you know, the fan service. But again, just like Senran Kagura, if you can look past the fan service aspect of the game, there is a really fun fighting game down there. It's probably one of my favorite 3D fighting games next to the Soul Calibur series. So I was real happy when they announced Dead or Alive 6 was being made. I'm also really happy that both of my mains are in the game, Jan Lee and Tina. I just love the fact that they're both in the game and they're not going to be DLC. But I'm looking forward to this game. As I said with fighting games, I'm not that great at them, but I love them regardless. And Dead or Alive 6 6, from what people have been saying and what I've been seeing, it looks like it's going to be just as great as Dead or Alive 5 last round. So here's hoping that if you've been put off by Dead or Alive by, obviously, like I said, the fan service aspect, hopefully you guys will be interested enough to check out 6, because 6 looks amazing. Like, the character models look ridiculously great, and this is Koei Tecmo using a new engine that they said they're developing and they might use for other titles just besides Dead or Alive 6, but this is the first engine they're using. It just looks amazing. So imagine if they could put the engine they're using for Dead or Alive 6 and put it into some of their Dynasty Warriors games. Like, that would be amazing. Just imagine if Samurai Warriors 5 was going to run off the DOA 6 engine and how amazing it looks for like the PlayStation 4 and obviously PlayStation 5 when they announced that probably sometime in 2020. That's why Dead or Alive 6 is my number 6 spot on the countdown. But either way, I am looking forward to this game and I can't wait for it to come out. Alright guys, we're now into the top 5 spot. And number 5 is a very special game for me. It's a game that I have been essentially waiting 13 years to play. And that's kind of ridiculous to say, considering that the last mainline title we got for a console was all the way back in, I think, 2006? And I'm talking about Kingdom Hearts 3. A game that literally we've been waiting to play, or at least I've been waiting to play for all those years to finally see how the Xehanort Saga is going to end. I mean, at the time, I don't think it was called the Xehanort Saga, it was just Kingdom Hearts. It's very interesting to see how this game is going to end, or at least this section of the game is going to end, because for a lot of guys my age, we played the original Kingdom Hearts when we were kind of like kids, maybe like preteens, and then Kingdom Hearts 2 when we were in the middle of high school. So for us, you know, this kind of is the send-off form for Kingdom Hearts, at least this part of the franchise. And you know, looking back on it, I'm kind of happy that the game is coming out this soon, because I remember when they announced it years ago, I think like 2014, started showing off stuff officially, which even I think they say that was too early. But ever since then, you know, we've been ravenous for anything about this game, and it's finally going to be a thing by the end of this month. And it's just so mind-boggling. It's bizarre, really, to be able to say that Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be here at the end of the month. I mean, it's just such a weird thing to say. Like, after all these years of the speculation and waiting and hoping and praying for the game to come out, it's just so surreal that it's going to be out real soon. And people said the game looks amazing, it plays well, and the trailers have just been great. Like, that last trailer they gave kind of was a little emotional because we don't know what's going to happen. This is the end of the Xehanort Saga. This is the end of the very first chapter of the Kingdom Hearts franchise, and it's been a hell of a ride being a fan, playing all the spin-off games so you can understand the story, which, to be fair, is convoluted as all hell. I still say the very first Kingdom Hearts game has probably got the best story. Everything else after that, I think, kind of just goes crazy into, like, you know, pseudo time space travel and all that, but I digress. That's why this reaches number 5, because even though I've waited this long, I'm still trying to keep a moderate level of realism in check here with the game, because again, something that old with that much hype behind it after all these years might not live up to it, and that's okay. But as far as I'm concerned, as someone who started with the franchise very young and wanted to see the end of this chapter for Sora, I'm looking forward to it, and it just looks amazing and beautiful, and I can't wait to play it. And I'm gonna try and maybe do something with Kingdom Hearts 3 because it's a game I've been waiting for so long, so hopefully you guys look forward to that. But that's why this takes my number 5 spot, because this franchise holds a lot of, I guess, sentimentality for me and very special memories, so I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you guys are looking forward to it too. Hey guys, here's something else you might not know about me. I love turn-based RPGs. Fire Emblem, Utawai Renomo, I used to love the Disgaea franchise. Final Fantasy Tactics are some of my favorite games ever. I don't know why, just something about them, about controlling an army and just moving them around and watching them level up, just always was interesting to me. So that's why the number 4 spot goes to a franchise that just recently started coming over to the West, but has been a major juggernaut over in Japan, and that is Super Robot Wars. The game I'm talking about is Super Robot Wars T, which is going to be the latest entry in the franchise. It's also going to be the 3rd game in the mainline franchise that will have English subbings, which was a first about 3 years ago with the very first game, Super Robot Wars V, coming over to the West via imports because they released a pretty much an Asian version with English subtitles because you can't get the games officially here in the West because there'd be a licensing nightmare. But with Super Robot Wars T, it's bringing back some good mechas, and it's also introducing some new shows that I don't even think are mecha. I mean, you get Cowboy Bebop for one, that's definitely not mecha. That's like that space adventure, but I'm looking forward to see how that works. I'm also happy to see some other series coming back, like Shin Getter Robo, that's one of my personal favorites. Mobile G Gundam Fighter, that's gonna be awesome. Burning Gundam is like one of my top 5 favorite Gundams of all time. Gal Gaiga, which has been heavily requested, I believe. Gun Sword, I've never really seen, but I hear it's a good mecha. That's essentially what this game is about. It's just a love letter to everyone who loves mecha anime and who also just really loves turn-based RPGs. So I'm really looking forward to this game. And what's also nice about this is that it's also releasing day and day with the Japanese release of March 20th this year. So that means we won't have to wait super long to get the game. So I'm really looking forward to that. And like I said, since I love turn-based RPGs, I'm gonna definitely dive into this. And there's always hours of content in these games. Like, they encourage you to do extra runs. So it's real worth it, I think. But that's why this game comes in at number 4 for me. We finally made it to the top 3, guys. These are pretty much some of my most anticipated games of the year. And to start off the top 3, we're going to talk about a game that pretty much caught my interest since it was revealed a couple years ago. And that's Granblue Fantasy Relink, which it just officially got that title just last month thanks to the Granblue Fiesta 2018. What it is it's an action RPG being developed by Platinum Games. Like I said, have a great pedigree, and every chance they've shown off the game, it looks incredible. The combat has constantly been getting better. The graphics look just amazing as it keeps going forward. They said that since Granblue Fantasy Versus and Granblue Fantasy Relinks kind of started development around the same time, they're thinking they want to get Versus out first and then they want to put out Relink because it's going to be such a bigger game. I still think they could release both games in 2019. I think Versus could come out a little earlier in the year, and I think Relinks could definitely show up near the end of the year, like maybe a September, October title. That's my hope. As I said, looking at the gameplay right now, like, it just looks amazing. Like, Platinum Games keeps upping the ante every time I see gameplay for this, and the graphics look even better than the last gameplay they showed off, which still look pretty amazing, which lends me to believe that, you know, this game is being crafted with love and care. And like I said, I love RPGs and I love action RPGs too, and Platinum Games with their combat system just makes everything better. So instantly hooked on this game, and it kind of got me interested in the franchise itself. I mean, I haven't tried out the smartphone game, but I hear it's really popular, and who knows, you know, hopefully this gets a Western release around the same time the Japanese version gets announced, because that'd be great to have a somewhat simultaneous release, because I think this game would do well, especially since they want to add pretty much online co-op in the form of, I think, like quests, and you can have up to 4 party members. I'm looking forward to this game. It's definitely something that I hope comes out next year. I think it has a really good chance of it, and everything I keep seeing about the game is just fun, and they have a lot of characters they can pull from with a lot of different fighting styles. So hopefully the amount of characters we get to unlock is obviously going to be interesting. I just can't wait for this game. I hope it really does come out in 2019. I think this is a great way to get Cry Games into the forefront of making them a juggernaut in the console gaming market, which they've always wanted to be. And I think Granblue Fantasy Relink is going to do a great job. I just want this game to come out because it looks awesome, and I just really want to play it. Like, every time I see it, I just wish I had a controller in my hand so I could play this game. And that's kind of why it's my number 3. Number 2 is a game that is probably my most anticipated Switch game of the year so far. And it's a franchise that really is my favorite from Nintendo, and I really can't say that about any of their other properties except maybe a couple of their niche titles. When they revealed Fire Emblem 3 Houses at the Nintendo Direct last year around E3, I was blown away. I couldn't believe what they were doing, and it was nice to see the return of a console Fire Emblem game, which we haven't had, I think, since 2011 with Radiant Dawn. I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to this game. Like I said, this is probably my number 1 Switch title. And all we know about the game so far is that obviously it's going back to what looks like tried and true Fire Emblem, like more emphasis on heavy knit stories with certain characters, more focus on the tactical aspect. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of the waifu simulator. I could see some of it because they want to appeal to probably like the old school fans like me and probably some of the newer school fans who just joined on during Awakening. I'm okay with that because all I want at the end of of the day is to have another great Fire Emblem game. Since it's going to be on a console, like I said, it's going to be a lot more of a powerhouse than all of the handheld versions have. You know, we don't know that much. We just know only what we got from the trailer about we're going to be dealing with like 3 protagonists besides our probably created character. It's going to revolve around what sounds like sigils or seals, dealing with a major church. So it sounds like it's going to be a lot more of a heavy story than the other ones are. I'm thinking they might try to go as, I don't know, as dark as Fire Emblem number 4 Genealogy of the Holy War, which that is a really good game itself too. There are a lot of good Fire Emblem games I would love to see like remade and come over to the West so we could all play. We haven't heard a lot from the game since its reveal. We haven't seen a lot of it, and it is scheduled to come out this year. So whether it's coming out at its target release date of the spring of 2019 or comes out a little later, I'm fine with that. Just as long as Nintendo at some point shows us more of Three Houses. Like, I want to see, hopefully the graphics be a little more updated because they kind of look kind of low-end PlayStation 3 graphics, so hopefully there's a little more polish going on there. All in all, I'm loving the decisions that they're making with this. Like, having your army show up behind you as you fight gives it a more visceral feeling of war instead of just having like your unit versus another unit. I'm very curious to see how that works. I hope it's not all just cosmetic. I hope they really incorporate that to another extent. All in all, I'm really looking forward to Fire Emblem Three Houses. I think it's going to be one of the best Fire Emblem games in a long time, at least in my personal opinion, because again, I'm an old school Fire Emblem fan. I remember Blazing Swords, Sacred Stones, all those old school GBA games, which I fell in love with the franchise. To me personally, it'd be great to see a return to form to some extent with Three Houses, and I think Three Houses is going to be a little more mature, and it might focus a lot more on the interpersonal character relationships between the 3 protagonists and your created character. And here we come, guys, to my number 1 most anticipated game of the year. It goes to a game that I've wanted to talk about on the channel for a while. I just didn't know how to go about it. It's from a franchise that I really love. And like I said before, you guys know I love hack and slash and action games. I love Bayonetta. I love games of that nature. And I do love the Devil May Cry series. So I was very happy at this year's E3 when we got to see Devil May Cry 5 revealed. And ever since it's been revealed, I have been non-stop wanting to have any information on the game. How Dante was going to play, how Nero was going to play, how V's going to play, how does Virgil fit into the story, how Lady and Trish look, how everything's going to go, how we're going to finish the Sons of Sparta saga. All of those have been on the forefront of my mind since this game's been shown off. I just can't wait. It literally is my most anticipated game of the year because it looks amazing. It feels like Devil May Cry 5. I haven't been able to play it yet because I don't have an Xbox One, but I'm pretty sure hopefully they'll release a PlayStation 4 demo eventually down the line. But from what I've seen and from the YouTubers I've heard and who have played the game and talked about it, they feels amazing. Like, every character feels great. Nero feels amazing. Dante feels amazing. I don't think anyone's had a chance to take on V yet because he was just revealed, but each one of the characters looks so different and plays different from each other. Nero relies more on his Devil Breakers instead of his Devil Bringer, and each one does different things, and he has less arsenal than Dante. Dante has a crap ton of weapons and stylish moves, and he's like your typical Devil May Cry game. And then you have V, who is a summoner, who literally uses a bird, a panther, and a hellish golem to fight his enemies, and him showing up at the final stretch to land the killing blow. Like, these are all distinct playstyles, and each one of them looks interesting. Like, V looks like he's nothing but pure long range, but like the way Shadow and Griffin and Nightmare animated just looks so amazing. The way when he snaps his fingers and he turns into like a silver-haired version of himself, like it looks amazing. The way Nero like uses the Devil Breakers to interact with different things, like one being pretty much a long whip, the other being like a pseudo version of his Devil Bringer. Dante with all his different weapons and styles and his cocky attitude, which I love so much. Like, this game is just, it looks amazing, and I just can't wait. And you can tell how much love and energy was put into this game from the developers. Like, I think Devil May Cry 5 is going to be one of the best games of 2019, hands down. And we're getting a free update in April that gives us the Bloody Palace, which is great. And if this game sells well, which I really hope it does, hopefully that means they'll be willing to give us DLC. And if they do DLC, you know, hopefully they'll give us like a playable version of Lady and Trish, because technically the model's already in the game. Like, all you would have to do is just flush them out and give them a moveset. I don't know how hard that would be. But if it's even better than that, they might give us a Virgil DLC campaign, which would be amazing, because let's be honest, it doesn't look like Virgil's playable in the game, and that's fine. Like, I love Virgil. I think like they could give us a DLC part for Virgil, and by that I mean like expand it out, you know, like give him his own thing, give him his own movesets, let him do his own battle, like give him a full campaign worth of content and make it like a big expansion. Make it like the Devil May Cry special edition expansion where you just have a playable Virgil, playable Trish and Lady. Like, make this game a platform and just show people why this genre is amazing and why these types of games are so much fun to watch and to play. And just talking about this game gets me so hyped, and that is why this is my #1 game of 2019. This is why this is the game I'm looking forward to the most, and I definitely can't wait to play it. I can't wait to talk about it more. I definitely want to make a video about it, so hopefully you guys look forward to that, and hopefully you can like pick up my excitement for most of these games, because at the end of the day, these are all really good games that I'm looking forward to. I don't know if you've heard of them or not, but I just want you guys to know that there are some really good games coming out in 2019, and there are some games I didn't even talk about because I didn't find them interesting, and maybe you did too. But again, this is my top 10, so hopefully you guys can respect that these are the games that I'm looking forward to. And hey, if you guys have games you're looking forward to that didn't make this list, please feel free to leave it in the comment section. I love hearing from you guys, and I would definitely love to hear what your top 5, top 10, top 20 games 2019 are going to be. And don't worry, if the game doesn't have a release date of 2019, you know, throw it on the list. Who cares? Because at the end of the day, it's just fun to talk about games, and it's fun to listen to other people and what games they're hyped about, what they take an interest in, or at least I am. So thank you guys very much for watching this video. It's probably gone on way too long. I apologize, and please let me know how this went. This was the first time I did a video like this, so I definitely want to know how it came out. And any feedback is good feedback. And like I said, please feel free to leave me a comment, you know, in the comment section down below, letting me know what your most anticipated games of this year, heck, even maybe next year are. And if you want to hit me up on Twitter, please feel free to hit me up on that too. That's going to be in the description as well. Again, guys, I want to thank you very much for a great 2018, and I know 2019 is going to be even better with all these great games. So as always, guys, I want you all to have a great day, and remember, let's rock!